People need not know this, but Dave was the type to put his neck out for anyone. He did, at times, push too far, especially on that day, the day this all happened. It seemed as though things had fallen out of place. Everything was so out of control that everyone was scared, and he was angry. Yet he was in the right place and still had the timing to be in the frame of mind to do something about it. Things got so messed up I thought everything was lost. I thought I was lost. But something happened. And then, somehow, some way, he saw it. And with his last grasp of things, returned to us and fought for everything to come back together. Again, I like to think now that things worked out because of him. And also that with the friends I made that day, that they would think that too. Because even though he was like us, a goner, something otherworldly brought him back. It allowed him to feel through, freeing himself for long enough to stop what was going so horribly wrong. And I know a lot has happened. Still, I don't know how or what exactly. But we can all make our assumptions later. As I look back to those moments right now, though, I just want to thank everyone for honoring me, for just being here, and recommend that we all think of why we're here and why it matters.
Thanks for another block.
Dan Pabs saw incredible things, in places most people would not notice. But why? He heard someone once say that the questions are worth more than gold, and that led him to be a more curious and creative person. Most people were watching cat videos on YouTube. He was mapping out the broken pieces of this city, preparing for any which paths he might be crossed. When danger approaches, he's usually looking top down from all heights, being the first to catch what others had already missed. He thought at first he had the day off. Turned out his shift had been added to today's shift. He did have other ideas on how to spend it, but he figured he could use the overtime. Dan parked his car. The rain didn't bother him much, watching as a concerned community gathered. From his window he saw the chief pulling in from the front. As he opened his door from the side, he turned to see Officer Sam, who was there to fill him in on what had happened. "Well, you know, the local news team is on their way." "You three now," said Officer Sam. "Somebody's got to stop the reporter from getting in, and if you're not going to stop her, I'm going to let her in." Approaching the steps of the building, the sun beamed as the clouds faded. "Man, they called you in too?" "I was supposed to be whitewater rafting with my wife and kids, but I bet you're happy to be here." Dan shrugged and watched as Sam as the other two caught up with him, while he quickly caught up on his meal. He plunged his fork into the lunchbox and walked next to Stan as he ate. "What's that you're eating?" asked Sam. "Curry fries. Always help me stomach things when things get violent. Something so violent could happen just about anywhere. I'm going to need the energy." "The suspect had a weapon?" inquired Dan. "No, there's no suspect. We don't know what happened," said Officer Sam, approaching Dan from the sidewalk and led to his front door. Another detective opened the door for him, and as Dan entered the room, there was a mix of silence and noise coming from within. He began to wonder, is this room where it happened? It was the room next door, if that's what you're wondering, said Sam. He analyzed the room thankfully. "What's that?" said Dan. "And I'm going to have to save your ignorant sack of uprightness, such as how I carried out that fire last week, joked Sam." "Enough of that," said Dan. "There are some types of scribblings over there the chief wanted you to look at. You might know something about it. I'm not religious, but it looks something satanic to me, some type of cult. Today, over there, crossing his arms, he stood over what already appeared to be and a message. Could have been him. Perhaps it had something like faith. Find out if something resembles Gotcha. I can read this down. It's that, he said. "Shouldn't you be able to read this?" "I see what you mean, Waltz. None of us are going to back you on that. Looked as if it's something sharp, but the puncture wounds don't resemble teeth. I've been around before. You guys see the door? Hinges seem to be melted off thoroughly. I wouldn't touch it. It's cold, but we just don't know what it is yet." There was a black ooze on the back porch. Watson just stared at it for a moment, as it began to ripple on its own. It could have been a chemical reaction. He would have to bring it back to the lab to know which. "Take a look at the computer over there. Something evil did this. However, mankind is pretty bad, and tool-using man could have done this too." "What's the computer say?" "Says TMP could not be installed. Probably not enough storage space." "What? You didn't bring the new one with the internal storage?" "Actually, they're always giving us the cheap ones." Sam places his lunchbox on the table, and the titanium spork on top of that. Dion initiated access through the surveillance system's backup protocols. "Yeah, there he is. The victim was trying to defend himself, and that coat rack broke over there, in that opening in the corner. We rewound the tape, recording again. That thing over there attacked him. It looks like a monster." "Save it for the bedtime stories, Dion. There's a rational explanation for this, said Sam. It's just you guys playing a prank on me or what, right? He unclosed and shut the computer. Then, the wall over in the other room began to shake. You see what I'm seeing? Pointing up once and posed a question. Oh, where can I get one of those? As he picked up a painting that fell off the wall. Like something my wife would buy me. Love this type of art. It's so funky. I should really get one. Maybe they sell them close by. Look at this. It says McCarthy Symposium on the back. There was a black tar that stuck to the painting as he pulled it off the wall. Shame, it's been modified. Oh yeah, Chief Sanders buys from there. Maybe he'll sell you one. He then screamed like something that could make sense had just left. The cash is still there, he says. $100 bills just sitting here. Why didn't they take it? Intent, motivation. Why is this scene here? Why am I reading the story all wrong? Dan thought. Maybe I'll just take a couple. It's my kid's birthday today and I'm stuck at work. You idiot. Move away from that. You touch that and I'll whack you hard enough to make you rethink it, I swear. You no good Indian? Shouts Dan Paps. Right, like you know a good thing when you see it. There was a wood snapping sound coming from beneath the floor. He then succeeded in keeping his balance as he stepped back from the safe on the wall. Someone's below us. Because whatever this is, it isn't human. Well, whatever it is, it wasn't a pit stop. Sam picks up a crowbar from off the table and hands it to Dan. Made a break for it all. Why didn't anyone do anything, I guess? Playing coy. Sam points his gun at the area of the floor where they had heard the sound. There's something intrepid about this place. It was so easy to find that, like, we're missing something. Like something is happening right under our noses, you know? Dan lifts the floorboard with the crowbar. And as he does, a hand is shoved out, grabbing hold of Sam's sneakers. Are you okay? Asked Sam, wondering who it was that was down there and may have needed help or been rescued. Do you need assistance? When he says that, his legs are dragged under and he's sudden shock on his face as he bangs it off the cabinet. Help, okay? He said to Dan, who was as surprised as Sam that he was being pulled under and didn't know yet how to react. Up for some type of retaliation as soon as he sees it, the head of the creature, scaring Sam into action, gave what was grabbing him a powerful blow. Will you let me out? Frustrated, said Sam, lowering deeper. Dan Pabbs, then, was already wrapped around him, pulling him up from his shoulders, trying to keep him above ground. Dan aimed at the creature and shot him. Open the goddamn floor! The creature yelled from beneath, breaking through Sam and Dan into the ceiling, and then across the room, breaking through a kitchen sink. All the officers got a good look at it. It was the chief. The chief was the creature, but his face was deformed, and the black ooze was foaming out of his mouth. His expression was that of a wild animal. It was big and covered by black ooze and 4 feet wide, teeth like a cougar, and it seemed to sharpen every time they glanced back at him. It was fury, black and gray. The black was melting off, but its face was human. It was definitely the chief. Its face is wild, like the chief has rabies or something, said Dan. The creature sneezes some of what's on its face onto the officer that had tried to hold on to him. As he looked at Sam, who was badly hurt and bleeding, it swung its arms and turned to the 3 officers that rushed. It's the chief, said Diaz, before yelling in pain from an attack. What's wrong with him? Then the arm is torn off by the creature. What's with the attitude, Chief? Said Trevor Watson, as he unloaded 5 clips from his sidearm into them. Well, Trevor, you treat people well and you feel good about yourself. Treat people badly, you're gonna feel bad about yourself, said the creature. A voice not coming from his mouth, but from his ears. So, just lay it on us. What did we do this time, Chief? He shoots it again. Let me guess, we tipped off that reporter outside, or are you just sick of doing our jobs for us? Says Trevor Watson as he reloads. Was that a reporter, Trevor? I sincerely thought she was after my number, humored Sam, who was laying on the floor. Still just laying here. Boss, you lucky son of a gun. You went and turned into a monster. Now I'm gonna have to really get upset, yells Watson as he fires, unloading again. Not as much as me. I thought she was really into me, joked Sam. I was already wondering what I was gonna tell my wife. Something is happening. Duck, quickly, shouts Dan Pabbs. 3 sharp claws come rushing at Watson, breaking against his face, and as he's wounded badly, falling to his knees, he whimpers. The creature charges Sam. Sam screams as Dan punches the creature and latches onto it, swinging back and forth until letting go and being thrown into a broken table. He grabs hold of the titanium fork off the floor, saw still on it. Fine, Chief, you have ideas until they're watered down to bullshit, shouts Dan as he charges the creature again, pouncing and stabbing at it in the eye to save Sam. The creature reacts. It screams, ah! The sound not coming from its mouth, screeching as it falls against the wall and begins to melt into ooze. "Do not tell me you just killed that thing with a spork," said Sam. "People have an ego disorder. They think that putting me in my place will make them a millionaire, but I knew I could take it." "Who's saving who?" Dan turns to see Sam silent, his eyes losing focus and closing slowly. Chapter 2, The Counselor's Day, to be continued.
On a mountain, walk among the lake, to a bustling realm of stone and flame. He mistook the clang of the forges bright, for wisdom calling out his name. He wandered through the common folk, seeking signs in hurried stride, but meaning fled like startled birds. Across the river's rising tide, craftsmen toiled near a towering stack. A sudden roar, a boiling burst, and the scalding torrent struck his back. The guild lords failed their sacred charge, for they gave no warning of the threat. And the council's judgment fell like steel, a heavy fine the guild would not forget. Oh, the world moves fast, and the heart moves slow, and we chase what fades. Before we know an echo of movement, in tears of the dawn, we learn what's real when the false lights are gone. By riverbank a woman wept her sorrow, mistaken for prophecy. The monk believed her tears foretold, so deeper the truth he could not see. But her grief was born of fleeting storms, not omens or carved in face design. He learned that all shadows cast are warnings of divine. A wandering bard with a weather lute found a warrior lost in doubt. Your strength is more than sharpened steel, he said. Let me help you figure it out. A leader rises not from war, nor from the clash of shield or spear, but from standing by a firm when silence falls, and gilding those who quake of fear. So the monk found peace in patience, the woman found courage in the day. The warrior rose with a steady heart, and the bard sang the fear away. The Forge Guild learned through bitter cost that duty must be honored true. For even kingdoms built on flame must guard the hands that see them through. Oh, the world moves fast and the heart moves slow, but the soul finds light in things we grow. In echo of a movement, the tears of the dawn, we learn what's real and when false lights are on. When the false lights are gone.
Chapter 2, The Counselor's Day. Arthur Finch, city councilor, felt his day begin with a twist of fate. He was driving past the rear of the Grand Imperial Hotel when he spotted a homeless man, hunched and grinning, meticulously collecting empties from overflowing bins. Arthur pulled over, rolling down his window. "You there? You can't be doing that," he called out, his voice firm but not on time. "You won't be telling me anything." He scoffed, then added, a strange knowing smirk twisting his lips. "Counselor, you love the people too much." Arthur froze a familiar prickle of unease. He'd heard the phrase before, often from rivals. Just then a second figure emerged, a younger man, David, who was also struggling to find shelter in these times. Dave's tone was sympathetic, almost apologetic. "I heard about last night, Counselor," Dave said, avoiding his eye contact with the other homeless man. "You did the right thing, even if it wasn't easy." The homeless man chuckled, a dry and rattling sound. "You're the only one doing what's right, and all I'd be fighting for is the same things if I could, Counselor, except you're not a very good speaker. I have no idea how you got elected." Arthur felt a twinge of guilt. "I made promises, the words hollow even in his mind. Allowing, we're all here. If you ever need help, you can," said one of the homeless men, ominously. "Oh, hey, Counselor, can you buy me something to drink?" David asked, startling Arthur with the abrupt shift. Arthur hesitated. Then, sure, one drink. He pulled out his wallet. "What do you take me for? One of those chubs willing to throw you at 20? Homeless man waved this dismissive hand. "Those liberals don't know you like I do, Counselor. You'll convince them and put a smile back on everybody's face. We're having a cold one tonight. Sounds good. I've sown the seeds to speak. So what's balanced in the end? He leaned in, his voice dropping conspiratorially. First thing, I'm going to go every day, give speeches, rally up a crowd, you know what I'm saying? Arthur, bewildered by the man's pronouncements, simply nodded, handed him a $5 bill, then drove away, leaving David to deal with the strange encounter. Later that morning, Arthur found himself at the Western Research Facility, a stark, modern building where many Western University graduates worked. The first shift from the city's chaotic streets to the sterile, hushed lab was jarring. Fluorescent lights hummed, casting a cold glow on polished surfaces. Hey, counselor! Frank, a former classmate, and now a lead researcher, called up. His voice, there's something I need to talk to you about. Arthur leaned in, intrigued. What is it? Frank handed him a couple of pamphlets, his hand trembling slightly. It's a sample of my research. My lab partner and I, we've discovered something quite disturbing. This pamphlet speaks about all the different changes we've been encountering. Some sort of gamma wave is passing through everything and stabilizing what we see to be affecting the gravity of everything that's holding atoms together. Not all atoms, mind you, just those in the water. And it's happening everywhere. Frank ran his hand through his already disheveled hair. I thought, I discovered a new element or something unprecedented. I tested it myself and my lab partner over there. It's happening to us. It's happening everywhere, to every living thing on the earth. And everything I've tested and everything from my peers is similar discoveries. Is something that we've never heard of. He paused, his eyes wide in strange mix of terror and wonder. Not every living thing. Actually, the urine sample you brought the other day remains unaffected. So not every living thing. Strange, huh? Never thought I'd be so happy to see the seaplane old piss with all the bacteria under a microscope. Beats me. But maybe it means there's hope that we're not screwed. Check this out. This little guy is a 7-inch monkey we got from Africa. It's actually a replacement. The last one killed somebody and escaped. We're still looking for it. This monkey, said his lab partner, is an extraordinary creature. We have been giving him a certain drug, which he has been accepting quite startlingly well. But the thing is, it's not as well as his predecessor. This monkey has been escaping us for some time. It is a genius, I think. It knew that the virus it carried as an effect of this drug is allowing it to do amazing things. It's bit our partner in the lab, Dr. Rudy Destur, and he died overnight. A close friend of his and a friend of mine has gone missing. That has began by wondering if it's connected to counselor. I've been talking to police about it. They don't seem to believe me. Even with all my credentials, they still think I'm a madman. Frank, thanks. Really, thanks. I better leave you both to your work. Arthur managed to try and sound calm, but cold dread was settling in his thoughts. He stared at his pamphlet, his mind reeling. Stabilizing atoms, he thought. The world was literally coming apart at the seams. And he was worried about a homeless man giving speeches in the park. Just then, a sharp, authoritative voice through the lab's quiet. Counselor, it's Liz. We need to talk. Liz, a formidable woman who had inherited a vast estate from her mother, land that had been passed down through generations, originally traded between natives and immigrants, sealed with the marriage of a chief's daughter to an immigrant leader. Years later, Liz, acutely aware that most of the tribes were now forced into places of environmental hazards, and was pushing for a controversial project. I asked that they build an art gallery, Liz stated, her gaze unwavering. What else could she do? Her implication was clear. The weight of the day, the world pressing down. He had initially voted against the gallery, deeming it a frivolous expense when the city faced so many pressing issues. Whether things that happen are good or bad, focus on the facts. Then why wouldn't they? Sometimes it takes a while for us to discover things for what they really are. Why? Arthur said, his voice heavy with resignation. You want the gallery? I changed my vote. Yes, you get your gallery. A murmur of approval rippled through the small crowd of his supporters who had gathered. There was a cheer, and they celebrated the meeting. City guard, adjacent to the council building. Arthur saw a guard dog being yelled at by a government employee. The employee's face was red, his anger spilling over. He noticed someone holding a dandelion, smiling at him from a nearby window. The employee, in a bizarre display, plucked a dandelion and ate it. Then looked back at the garden, kissed the stem of another, and then threw it away. He shook his head. The world felt increasingly absurd. Walking down the hallway of the council building, everyone seemed oblivious to him, absorbed in their own worlds. Arthur's hands began to sweat. He was usually nervous, but he had felt ever since this morning as if a crime had been committed, a silent cosmic violation that had just been confirmed. His smile fell tilted as he walked past reporters and fellow councilmen and civilians. They were assuming he was someone who would just throw coffee at them. And if he was ever stripped of every possession, he believed deep down that he would still be one. He was no longer going to see his wife tonight. The Mrs. Tonight was not a good idea. He was going to go up, would call her from home. He thought, there as he stood, all that could be done was what he could absolutely put his mind to tomorrow. For now, he had to relax. It had been a long day, and he was seen enough trouble for now. That night, as he walked through the park, he was on the trail, near the water. Then he saw 4 homeless men sitting there. One of them, the same man from the hotel, was smiling at him, but holding a dandelion. The other 3 were hunched over, their hands moving with disturbing purpose. They were killing butterflies, their wings fluttering helplessly in their grasp. Arthur approached them. "So what are you doing?" he asked, his voice strained. The homeless man with the dandelion looked up and smiled unwavering. It looked up. The butterfly looked at me weird, he said. "Butterflies spread caterpillars that kill all the crops," said the other homeless man. "They're no good," said the third. He paused and added, "Yes, but if we deserve to live," said Arthur. "Certainly don't they deserve to live? You don't have to do that. You don't have to hurt the butterflies. They're just here for the dillweed and the milkweed. They do no harm. But they're killing the plants," said the homeless man. "You could better yourself." Another homeless man muttered, "Leave those young men alone." A woman suddenly walked out behind the trees, looking distressed. "Yeah, you shouldn't do that," the homeless man commented to Arthur. He ran towards her. "Counselor!" the woman cried, just as one of the other homeless men lunged and grabbed her bag. There was a woman among the group of butterfly killers. "What's wrong, miss? I don't mind giving you a few dollars. This is my purse. Please let go. Help!" Reacting instinctively, rushed forward to assist. "Get away from her!" as he grabbed and wrapped his hand around the strap of the bag. He felt the sickening smash of a bottle breaking over his head. Disoriented, he stumbled back, small specks of blood falling from his face. The 4 homeless men, people with the bag, their laughter echoing through the park. "Wait a minute, my wallet!" the woman yelled. "Leave my wallet!" tears streaming down her face. "Leave my wallet! This isn't right! Counselor!" A new voice, someone else, walked over from the side, holding a video camera. "I got the whole thing on tape, counselor. You want me to call the cops here? Take this." He handed Arthur a piece of paper to stop the bleeding. "Hey, what's this little thing over there?" The man pointed to a monkey standing on one of the homeless man's shoulder, a detail that almost missed Arthur's perception entirely. Arthur touched a small bit of blood that had fallen on his jacket. "Oh, that's just a small bit," he said. "I don't feel so good." He swayed back and forth, almost falling over when someone caught him. "I see another group coming this way. We should get out of here." As Arthur walked away, head throbbing, he couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning of something much larger taking place. Somewhere in this park, there was going to be an accident, a reminder of the unsolved threads that still hung in the air. Threads now tangled with scientific doomsday scenarios, political compromises, and the chaos, violence of the streets. The world was indeed coming apart, atom by atom, promise by promise. Chapter 3. The long-distance sleep, to be continued. Chapter 3. Good for now. The park next to the city hall was next to the river. It had many displays made by artists, but all of them seemed to be of the same woman, Japanese woman, whose name was on almost every bench in the park. David had stood on one of those benches, cement pad in the middle of some wooden statues by that artist. Liz McCartney was the second most local artist in the town, whose local art had been featured in magazines, and wanted to teach her very own traditions to anyone interested. Across from that were the 7 men. The men and a woman who he had met earlier and was now a mentor to him, and an older woman who was only there in the first place because she was tired and leaned up against the railway to the river. Outside the 7 men, where she then began to listen on. But the older woman who first seemed concerned was now delighted in what she was hearing, as well so did the other men between them, and they all who most likely were following everything he had to say. Just happened to be strolling by was Linda Driver, city councilor, and her fiancé, Officer Trevor Watson, whose phone call just took him away from him, while she stopped to hear what the attraction was all about. "What's this all about then?" stated Watson, who was talking to Dan Pabst on the phone. He looked strange with the marks on his face and a green wool sweater that his mother had given him last time she had visited. "Trevor, the writing on the wall. From the apartment," said on the other end of the phone. "I know what it says now. Are you listening? Now get this. This is what it read. It said, 'You don't steal from God.' I'm gonna go check out that place, the McClarthy Symposium, see how, anyhow, there's something related. I'll call if I learn anything." "Okay, sounds weird," said Trevor, and hangs up. "Join us at the McClarthy Symposium tomorrow night to learn more," says David, shouting to the crowd. "To be the best that you can be," continued David. "All we need is history." "Keep telling it, brother," cheered the man from the front, closest, who clapped alongside the other 2 who joined in. "He's really getting into it," shouted another man from the back, giving an approval nod, and the park's lights seemed to flicker on just in that moment, brightening where they stood. "Hey, Linda, you want me to buy you a coffee?" said Trevor. "I'm fine. I just want to... Thank you. Really, I'm fine. I just want to hear what this is all about. The crowd cheered on. Whatever he was getting at, it was striking a chord. They told us we needed credentials. David paused for a moment. So we did. And after that, they tell us they're on the gate. So that we paid a lifetime savings just to carry something that's no longer worth its weight. They tell us it's just what it's like when the computers replace the typists. Sure, there's still work for the best in the world, but where does that leave the rest of us ordinary folk, when only so many of us can keep going without sleep? Us average men and women, who did what we were supposed to do. Where does that lead us? Pretty much down a dark black hole, yelled somebody from the crowd. That's where it got us, shouts a man from the back, with no way to get home. What happened to our opposites, our counterparts, those who decided to do it on their own and not follow the rules, who appointed themselves value and started businesses? How are they doing today? They strived, honey, agreed the older woman from the back. My son sells accountability for $500 and pirated disk drives for $50 a terabyte. He's making a killing compared to you lot. Yes, that relates to my next point, David went on to say. Today piracy can get somewhere like us locked up. Well, for what? Trying to level the playing field? If things aren't fair, then it's not competition. But for most of us, though, it will unlock our true potential and get us to where we need to go. Piracy is not what it was 100 years ago. It should be legal and supportive. You're right, of course, says the councilwoman from the back, who wanted to chime in. All history is not created equal. Some of it is left out of the history books. So we asked for it, replied David. We all need to share it with all of us before our businesses and our dreams become obsolete. All we need is the opportunity. If not, we're not expanding. And if we're not expanding, we're declining. How do we learn from our mistakes? We get the information, yells the crowd. If we don't know what's causing them in the first place, this hero of mine, author Neil Gaiman, who is everyone's favorite author, not just for his books, which are decent books, but for his activism. He uploaded his own books to our website. He got his agent to do it, and most of them are available to everybody. The wind picked up and green branches began to sway. One branch broke off nearby a tree and flew into the water. It sounded like free marketing, and so anyone like us could discover and read them. Then there was the boy who was more male than any of us, who unfortunately gave his life fighting so that old books uploaded to archive.org were DMCA ignored. That is before they stopped funding archive.org. But still, these are the types of things we should believe in, what we should fight for once again. Our history, our connection to what matters. The wind dies down, and everything is still again, and the councilwoman stops him there to debate his logic. There is our culture, our new traditions, she says. You can't compete, so what? Throw out competition? I see you now here on this instant. This is no revolutionary. This was David the drunk in town. He had every bar in the city begging for a drink. And now this man is so obnoxious, he's telling us what to do. Should we just hardly tolerate him, even on a good day? Even when I bought that boat off him a few years ago, he made me sick. It's my third quote, and it's absolute garbage. I'm saying, join the summer people at McClarty's new location and support each other. I used to think we were all in it for ourselves, and somebody looked out for me. Now I want to help others.
The second, they were on a boat. It was far from the shore of the beach. The cabin within the boat they were entering was full of lit candles into where everyone looked to be and feel in style. The crowd all seemed to be looking at a man who was pouring a drink from a bottle into a glass on top of the piano. The man lifted an eyebrow and continued playing the piano, and noticed Cheese Owens, who was very happy to be there entering the room while listening to the music, which was very uplifting, so much so that no one in the crowd was actually even dancing. But they all watched on as the musician eagerly played on. Cheese Owens wore a white-colored button-up shirt beneath his newly tailored gray suit with a matching top hat, and walked with two others to his left. A man whose suit was all green, and to David Epton's, looking back at him, who was covered in sweat and bitter relief on his face as he scanned the room. The white, well-lit room with the precision of someone with a goal, as though the old David Epton wasn't there anymore, and was replaced by a new one that was entirely different. He was dressed in one cut of all leather. His eyes looked boastful and full of confidence. Then the gray-haired man, who seemed very frustrated with their presence, walked by. "Who are you?" David asked the man and smiled at him. "I was just leaving." The man said so fast they made them wonder what he was up to. "I don't remember a meeting. I don't remember inviting you," said David. The man threw a plate, which broke at David's feet. "This place, these things.
How can you afford all this? I'm here because you stole my job. What are you people doing to this city? Do you want a response or a reaction? Said David, then begins to growl at the man. The man noticed the others surrounding him quickly and looked for the cabin exit. All right then. Cheese looked past him and out the window to a woman crossing on the deck. Miranda, said Cheese Owens as he met her passing the door. Cheese Owens? She sounded as though she might have been mistaken and looked delightfully surprised. Yeah, it's me, it's Cheese. The ship we're aboard traveled down the river and docked next to the park. This is where and when we're supposed to meet. I didn't realize we're so upriver already, said Miranda. They walked each other within the first group to depart. So can I verify it? Check that one off right away, shall we? They sat at a picnic table. Miranda, resting, leaned towards him and asked, Can I see your badge? Yes, it's real. I passed them all. Like the one last night was the last one. He showed Miranda his badge, and Miranda scanned it with her gauntlet. No way, really? An open university, really? It wasn't cheap, said Cheese. You also know SQL? That's still rare, even today. Miranda laughed. It's really great to meet you. Now, as we did a background check, we know you used to be a farmer, which shows us you really know what it's like to be a business owner. You don't have the experience this might be in detail. I feel there's a mixed bag between what you know and what you could be doing for it. Not exactly what we're looking for, but I think personally, beginning at the start, we all need help. I got one I want you to remove all the outdated stuff from right away. And you can do that starting tonight. Your bag should have just received the details, user ID, and your password. You should access the whole thing within an hour, and I'm very interested in your up-to-date green know-how. That will be very useful. First, I'm very afraid we don't pay our new analysts until they've completed a 2-week orientation to the agency, at which time we'll learn of any mistakes you make in the recording of your reports. But don't worry, already you're looking good. You should be up to it. You should be ready. So are you up to it? I'm specialized in cleaning marketing data, so that's what I'll do. I want to give it my all, and I couldn't be happier to be of assistance, said Cheese. Okay then, that's all I needed to hear, said Miranda. Cheese waved his badge over the palm of Miranda's gauntlet, and his badge was lit up with some text that read, he was approved. I'll have you set up with a game developer tonight. This is a person who is a fast starter like you. His name's Ryan Gunning. Finished his first game so quickly, but he's nobody too. And I've tried it out. It's a real slammer. It's a good game. But the sales aren't where they should be this early. They don't seem to be shifting as much as we like to see. The top performers, as usually, given a gig like this. But seeing your potential with your portfolio, I want to see what you can do. I think I really have you guys set up to be the perfect partnership. They'll be testing you. They'll have someone oversee your work, and they'll report to me and let me know if everything's up to standards. But we do have shoes that need to be filled right away, so I've been wanting to catch this train to Vancouver tomorrow. Do you have this challenge in mind, or do you think you could resolve this issue for me? You'd actually be doing me a big one. If you started tonight, during your own time, and just clock in, and we'll keep track of hours. Oh, yeah, I can do that, said Cheese. This is incredible. I'm so pleased. I got some help, and I learned as fast as I possibly could. Right then. Great, said Miranda. And you have the details. Good stuff, Cheese. We'll talk soon. Thanks, Miranda. Goodbye, then. He watched Miranda as she got into the passenger seat of a vehicle which drove off, leaving the nearby parking lot. As it drove off, he heard, "You're clear," over the radio. "For my first job only. I did not think I would do it, but I've done it. Again," says Cheese as he bumps fists with David. "Yeah, you're really getting the hang of this. You sure this Ryan Gunnings guy is really Kate Hoppy? That's why nobody knows who he is." "That seems to be the silver lining," said David. "This could be a good lot better had they just gotten along growing up. It's like his latest pen name. He uses it when he's hiding and working on something big and doesn't want prying eyes on his business. Cheese just set it up." He talked to the woman over the phone. "Miranda just gave him the most valuable client for the first job. Just like I said he would." "Yeah, I can't believe she's doing it. Affirmative. The data she's bought off us has improved her going rate. The woman's known for a little freelance arbitrage. Now she's someone who fully manages accounts and is totally overpaid. I know everybody wants a pecan off the cupcake. Don't high five just yet, but good work." Cheese looks across the table to David, who ends the call and sits down at the picnic table. "We're really doing this, aren't we?" said Cheese, as David put his phone on the table. "My garden at the community center already thinks I'm spending too much time with you lot. And the other day, that reporter almost attacked me when I made her wait at my doorstep for 2 hours. People always think they can do this stuff better than us, says David. But do they know how many problems we had to get through just to get what we've got? David passed Cheese on the shoulder. But that's right, we're after the big fish tonight. The wind picks up, picking up a pile of grass and blowing it through the wind. The trees leaned in, and it sounded as if the wood were laughing. Elsewhere, Arthur, wondering why everyone he talked to lately didn't care what danger they were in. Why he was so easy to read, and yet not everything was transparent. He may not have known every detail of this stuff, but at least he was trying to figure it out. He was going to the hardware store to buy a few items and see if he could learn more about science with this use of the simple items that he could be bought there. He drove by the office building, where Franklin, who told him about all this stuff, was wanting access to the newest and latest technology to further his research. He was switching careers to do it. Was currently meeting with his new job employer to where he could finally have access to it. Why are they just staring at me? Said Franklin. The goldfish in the aquarium swam back and forth, but they were in unison, all of them looking at him the entire time. Nanobots, said Gate Hoffy. They're basically cameras with souls. Goldfish with souls? And this is what you've been working on? They also follow commands. What's the purpose of this? Do you test this on humans? I can't tell you what I'm working on. You'll be working more closely with my assistant than myself. I was told I'd be working with you. You should know that every mind is trained on observations. Even when something is off the top of your head, it's still based on an observation. The more of those we have here, the more specific we'll be at our troubleshooting. Anyways, but aren't you stealing from everyone then their experiences? It's actually more like I'm giving the blind the ability to see colors. Xander entered the room. He interjected, as if he had been listening quietly the whole time and could no longer bear to hear Cade speak. He's probably told you by now his test subjects just so happen to be living creatures that are his prisoners. He doesn't tell you that he caused the blindness in the first place. He's so wealthy because he steals so much from others. Xander, you bucket of actuators and circuits. I'm middle class, man. If I hadn't bought all those pirated disk drives and trained your model on them, where do you think you'd be? Somewhere less vivid or more? Excuse me. Did he just say you're a robot? I'd really like to see your schematics and your research data. My thesis for one of my earlier PhDs was actually on the quality of analytics, and I'm not even taking pay for the next month. As we're all so aware, Franklin, we don't all have 8 legs. I need you to know that the universe and those you work with here are not just going to clear your dishes for you just when you ring a bell. Now, I need you to read the incoming reports from a new analyst we just hired. You're going to do this yourself. Your office is just down the hall. If there's something off that you don't understand, just come talk to me. And if you proceed, you might just earn further involvement. We'll see from there, said Gade. I'd like to get started, said Franklin. That way, there's a Dr. Peppy on your desk, said Xander. What's that? He asked. It's a complimentary. Oh, okay, gotcha. Franklin walked down the hall. Well, the first time you do something, people celebrate, said Xander. Every other time they tell you're awful. The first time you say something, it's always the best. Almost like poetry, is it not? Xander heard a high decibel sound which took him away for a moment, and it turned to static. Hey, it's me, Frank. The team down the hall are Chinese food and paper towels. Yes, there are more paper towels on level 1. You can go get them in the pantry across the front desk. Got it. I'll be back in a jiffy, says Franklin. Tell me what happened, asked Gabe. We just had another data center go down. I told you we need better access control protocols. We do? I gave them honeycombs. That wasn't a honeycomb. It's not deleted. We've got backup. Something's always bound to get the technicians off their asses. We just might have to notify the stakeholders if this continues to happen. Just reboot it. What if they're waiting for you to reboot it so that they can get access codes? I didn't think of that. One of those. That's what I'm here for, boss, says Xander. Maybe you should go hide out at one of your other office buildings. I'll keep an eye on things here. Because they're probably gone to our location already. That's what you're here for. To do the big things. To look out at the high tower, so you keep an eye on things from the other office. I'll keep things up and tight around here at this office. Gotcha, Xander, said to Gade. Gade said, you'll be the last to know. He turned to a green screen with white text, and Xander began to type commands. Gade left the office and took the elevator down. Now to extinguish you organisms, or should I say trash, said Xander. What was that, Xander? Said Franklin from down the hall. Oh, I didn't know you were still here. I was just getting my hat. I'm going down to get the paper towels. All right, just having a laugh, Franklin. That's all. Seriously, though, I'm sending you some new priorities. I want you to take a look at them when you get back. Oh, hey, I'll take a look at them right now. Hey, this is top-level stuff. Now I see what's going on. And here are the really mysterious ones. Frank, you're gonna love this. You said it. This is what I've been looking for. Someone always needs a hobby, but this is my life. This is my hobby too, Franklin. Why we do what we do. Franklin lifts up a card and passes it to Xander. I'm also an author, see? This is a greeting card, said Xander, with a monkey and some scribblings. Franklin looks serious. Hey, I spent 8 years of my life on that. They continued going through the theories and analyzing all the unfit data until they found patterns and organized everything into categories. This is just theorized, but based on what you've said over the phone to me when we first talked about giving you this job, this is the element, it's new, and for what you're looking at, it seems to be an alkali metal that until a few weeks ago has never been discovered. Now it's in every living thing we've tested because it's in the water. Unlike the usual minerals though, it's completely obliterated from our systems by the time it becomes a urine sample. That's right. And you know what? I think I know what's doing this. But I don't think he likes us. If we're to cure it, and we're the cure to what it is, just a wild idea. Whatever is causing this could be from outer space. It could be just something that arrived on Earth. I could get the jeebies thinking about it all day. But we could do something about it. My thoughts exactly, Franklin. I could get the data from the drones to find the impact point, correlate that between the gamma-ray spectrometers on board the company's satellites, so we get the GPS coordinates. So let's see here. I've refined the navigation. He types away on the computer. And I've detected something in Cape Breton. This is absolutely what we're looking for. I can see. It makes sense, doesn't it? I never imagined we'd be able to do that. But we can do amazing things in this company, Franklin. You're going to see many things just like this. Maybe not just like this. This is pretty spectacular, but many accomplishments ahead. You should see what they keep in the basement, yells a man from another office. And if you want, we can arrive there tomorrow evening, says Xander. And that's what we'll do. Let's not get our wires crossed, says Xander. That office building was a block away from the gas station that was also a hardware store named Green G's. Arthur was inside that store looking for a magnet and a laser pointer, after which, prepared and chosen, he brought to the front desk. While on his way, he noticed somebody collapsing, and then he completely turned around and paid attention from the back of the line. He noticed other people coming out from different parts of the store trying to assist the person who had fallen over. When right out in front of him, another person fell over and began shaking, their eyes covered by skin. Gray fur began to gray and grow throughout his body, and a creature's head, along with 4 long, sharp legs, bore from each of their chests, lifting the bodies and making them the lower half of the creatures. These monsters, these things from beneath, these things from outer space, these things from what's in the basement.
The Summer People Workshop, Chapter 3.
I saw what I needed to hear and how these things got this way, because we all deserve to build together. We need more people of craft, scientists, artists, which already we really are. We all discover the world, and we all have new things to say. Artists are tough, said Watson. He signed the petition. Every artist I talk to says their mother's taught them, said the fiancé. For hell with it, said the councilwoman. I said it too. If the whole thing wasn't completely garbage and against my agenda, well, you're not getting my fiancé. Then she takes the pen away from Watson and scribbles his name out of the PDF document. I'm sorry. We just can't, Watson. This city is struggling. We have bigger fish in the pan nowadays, said the councilwoman, while winking back to the woman with a monkey on her shoulder who had just winked at her. David raised his hand to the crowd. I'm telling you, everything. This woman changed my life, and I could get used to this. Councilwoman gave her a weird, disgusted look as the woman removed a butterfly from her pocket, a dead one, and fed it to the monkey. The councilwoman then turned back to Trevor and said, maybe it is time to go.
Who's struggling? Councilwoman? It certainly isn't you, who just last week voted against the apartment building for all 300 homeless to be abandoned. You voted against the project to rebuild the apartment building for the homeless. What do you represent anyway? I hear a lot of working man and woman. What is left behind for the rest of us? Only saying yes to those non-essential things doesn't really sit well with us, with more barriers to our future, said the woman with the monkey. No, lady, you seem to be fighting for the cause, says one of the men in the background. Listen now, you aren't all going to be trouble for me later now, are you? Says Trevor Watson, his hand moving the councilwoman behind him. Calm down, Trevor.
he's not your prisoner. I guess it's okay then, that we can disagree then, said the councilwoman. Good night, you all, said Officer Watson. Stay out of trouble, you all, he said as they both continued to walk down the path as more streetlights turned on and lit their way. As they don't want to be my problem, they heard Watson say back to them. The two laughed together as they walked, making distance. David turns to the woman with the monkey on her shoulder. Was I being too much? He asked. You did a good job, I'd say, said the woman with the monkey. You give really good speeches, said David. I was just trying to be more like you. You'll get there, said the woman. And sooner with more signatures tomorrow. Liz McClarty and Arthur will appreciate this. And just about everybody else will be thrilled. You'll see. Thanks, ma'am, said David. That's thanks. Hey, my name's Cheese. I think I like what you guys had to say. I want to sign up. Is there anything else I can do? The woman seemed pleased to see him. He certainly seemed well fed. She seemed to appreciate the muscle and well for protection or something. She thought, why not? Why not? Not unless you've got quite in this drive, though, said the woman. I mean it. I think I really believe in this, said the man. Sounds good, says David. We need disk drives, and we need you to sign them out from the library. Here, take this one. This one is which you'll require. Catching up Cheese. And scan this when they ask you for the difference. Now this is a list of ones we require. Scan this if you need the difference, says the woman as she hands the card to another person. The group had the older woman coming to the front, and the rest of them lined up behind her. Can I reach you somewhere? The older woman asked. Yes, meet me in the construction site where they're building the workshop. I'm there every Wednesday. I'm trusted there for a very important side project on the property. Just meet me there and call out my name. I'll be close by. As she hands the older woman a bag of cash. Considering how weird things used to be, that was the most normal thing about this woman. David no longer felt it unusual about that stuff at all. The woman counts. You really are the kindest people, says the woman, as she carried on grinning. Her breath smelled like she just ate. You don't know the half of it, laughs David. We all strive to see the light, eventually, no matter how deep. The woman with the monkey appeared as though she was snapping out of something, then came back too, and then was out of it again. Gate Hoffy, she said. Who's that? Oh, just my brother. Don't worry about it. And then she laughed. And then the group laughed with her. Cheese and David laughed as well, although looking more concerned as she coughed and walked away slowly. Saying again, just go get them. Just go get them. David and Cheese and the two others paid the admission using their newly given cards with the freshly acquired credit on them, and they couldn't have stood up for something better than this, where they actually get ahead, doing the right thing. But being like the last thing they want to be in a place like that, they immediately stood out and felt they didn't fit in, while paying more than anyone they've ever known to act this way. Usually we're not privy to, or most could never afford, just for a look in these trying times where all the knowledge is kept, which in these years many people were cut off from. David, what are you doing here? You're full of surprises, aren't you? Said Arthur, while scratching his head, then touching the side of his glasses as he turned away. Finch noticed him among the others, walking into the building. Made some friends, eh? Well, excuse me. He turned to the display on the wall, which was prompting him to write what he was looking for. There's something I'm trying to learn about, Arthur said, as David looked over Arthur's shoulder to see what he was typing, and then read the screen destabilizing address, which returned a not available response. Frustrated, he kept typing in other things that were related to that, but he just kept going on and said, I'll catch up with you later. Bye, David. Oh, Arthur, said David. And Arthur waved and kept typing. David walked on towards the shelves, hearing the squealing of a cart he saw then behind him, carrying paper documents, which was pushed by a librarian. He looked back again and saw the librarian pushing it had been giving him an unwelcoming goldfish stare. The librarian leaned over and whispered to the woman at the counter, Keep an eye on this one. He's probably going to steal something. Dave overheard him say, As dirty as he looks. Got it, sir, the woman replied. David knew what he looked like. He was dirty, but still he felt somewhat offended. Then saw the title he was looking for. Why do you want that? That was a data analysis. That drive is no good for him. That's $1,000 title. Call security. The woman tapped a button immediately. A robot security guard wheeled into the room, entering and stopping to narrow in on him and the others who stood out. But everything was fine. David just smiled, opened up his wallet, and handed the woman the front desk the credit card that he had been given. It scanned through and it was approved. It was processed and he was good to go. Here you are. All settled? Said David. I don't believe it, said the librarian as he scratched his head. and then nodded and looked pleased with him. "Here's your receipt," said the other. "Have it back by next month. There will be a charge if it's late," the librarian said. The other looked at the woman librarian and said, "I was wrong about him. I shouldn't have been so rude." He smiled, and the others lined up and took their payments. "Us do, please," David heard Chi say, as he himself was leaving the building. The woman was standing outside in the alley with the monkey in her hands and whispers to him. "Behind the building," she says. Then whispers again, "Over here." "There you are," says David. "Here you go, little monkey," he says as he handed it a drive disc. "Please," says the woman as she takes the drive disc and puts it quickly in her bag. "Listen, I better go. I need to go. I better go. Would you hold on to this for a moment?" And hands him the monkey. "Hold on to what? The monkey?" And then in David's hands, he stares at it, and the woman walks off with the other three. "I better just go," she says, and looks again upset and confused while she's turning around the corner. "Wait," said David. "Come on. You want me to wait? Really? Where are you going? Don't leave me alone with this thing. What the hell is she doing now? Where did you just go?" He began getting nervous. Maybe this woman was the same as what always happens after all, he thought. "She's coming back, right?" he says to the monkey. David stares into the monkey's eyes. Its shadow from the streetlight grew, darkened, and all light faded away. As it did, the sky became a ceiling of black ooze far as it surrounded it, as did beneath it. The shadows became that of walls, which flooded everything with the mixture of construction, but then separated. The car moving, staying still all around him. He moved away, still with the monkey in his arm. He seemed fine. The monkey just kept staring at him while he yelled, "Help! Get me out of here!" He yelled and held the monkey with his left arm and tried to shovel through with his right, which was not moving through it. Terrified still, his mind began whirling, eventually stopping to see a hole open up near the floor through the mixture, about a foot up and down in size, a foot wide. The monkey hopped into it, then turned around and looked at it. There was a blue light coming from the other side of the tunnel. "Go, little monkey," David said. "Find help." The monkey turned and ran off, down deeper and farther through the tunnel, which sealed up shortly behind it, almost seconds after it did. Then the black ooze collapsed in on David, and he tried to scream. "Blah!" He gargled, but it was already in his mouth, and it was inside him, as everything turned like it were a reflection, and he saw even without light. There was a blue color that was there suddenly. There were no moments, or without movement. All he could do was look at the reflection, the collection of blue that brightened, the small parts that turned to gold, as it turned to different shades. "Please be a dream. Please, just wake up."
Ain't no sunshine without a eye, and it's always come too low anytime it goes away. And I know, hey, I know, hey, I know, leave that AI alone, but ain't no AI way. Just ain't no home.
Chapter 3, The Long Distance Sleeper.
Look like someone who is just holding on, and that's enough reason for me to give you this. Look, you've had some bad days, but this is all the good news. I will be here and make it right through. Where'd you just go? He said to the woman. I better just go, she said back to David. Wait a moment, I have this for you. Why you be so nice? Do I look like a kitten? No.
Oh, hi. Did not see you. Come on, right in. Make yourself at home.
Chapter 3 Long Distance Sleeper It was still Friday, a few minutes into the evening, when 3 men pulled up in van. John got out. He hung around and watched the other 2 retrieve their things from the side. Clark with the camera picked up their bags and Howard closed the sliding door. "We're going to be late. This is incredible," John said as they crossed the parking lot. He felt broken because he was hungry. He never had breakfast. "What's incredible is that gravity doesn't crush us, or that we all don't just fly away," said Clark. "Usually we would eat more as the day went on, but tonight's a busy one. We didn't have much time to prepare, so we hadn't got to that yet." They went through the back entrance, turned through a corridor and went into the elevator. The doors opened. The recording engineer, Howard, with the headphones around his neck led the way. He carried a microphone on the long end of a rod as they went through a door into another hallway. They came back around to a large crowd that was blocking the hall door. Howard stopped and stepped out of the way of a couple. "Sorry," said Howard. The lights inside turned on and the people began to fill up the room. "I think we just made it." They waited to pass them and then went through the hallway which led them in through the back way. They walked in a single line up the aisle and climbed up onto the stage. John stood in front of a podium next to some chairs. He smiled. "Welcome to the McClurthy's Contemporary Art Symposium. Please can I have your silence?" he said. "Please take a seat. Please take a seat. That one man's error has cost us $3 million to date, and he was a customer," said someone backstage who was too close to a microphone. "Everyone, a warm welcome to Liz McClurthy." He notices Maria, who is a young woman he works with and is holding a notepad, jotting things down, pausing to sip on her coffee after being last in. The crowd applauded as Liz got up on stage. "We're happy to see you." "Thanks to all of you, I'm happy to see so many," Liz said. Maria waves with her writing hand. "So all of you are probably wondering, what's that, over there?" "You mean this?" Picked up, John. "Why that on?" asked Liz. John revealed something within reach. "Yes, he's awful. You artists don't know what it takes to be you. This guy will never have. It's my job to hire people. Why don't you just leave it to me?" Joked Liz. "I'm only kidding, of course. The one who painted this is someone I've commissioned personally," said Liz. "You know what surprised me? When we first met, it was your wonderful collection. It was covered in a tablecloth. He removed it showing a painting." Liz walked over to it, picking it up. "That's right, John," said Liz. "I'd like to start tonight off with an abstract piece," John said. "This is one of the first you added to your collection, isn't it?" John walked toward the 2 men who were leaving, getting down off from the stage and walked past a painting. "That's true." Detective Dan Pabs enters the room. "Excuse me, is Liz McClurthy here? I need to ask her something," he asks a security guard who points him to the stage. "Let me just say," said John, "do your research and don't just buy anything to put on your walls." Liz handed it over to him. "It marks a real shift in my life. It reminds me of this time I can remember." "Eric," someone shouted. Everyone looked and saw him. A man by the door. "Eric, it's happening." A man in the audience stood up and met him in the aisle. He dropped his laptop. It fell and broke as he begins to grow in size and his face deform. "Liz." "Security." Liz stood up. "It's all right, everyone. I'm sure it's all right." The 2 were running. They tried, it seemed, to keep walking. Dan removed his tie. He was sort of scared. "You. What's going on? You again," he muttered out loud. The cameraman, Howard, with his camera took a shot of the crowd. They were entering the hallway outside and he turned and brought the camera back to John. "Ladies and gentlemen," John said, "why don't I introduce you to?" The creature leaps forwards, landing onto 2 people sitting in the rows ahead of him, and begins to attack relentlessly. Members of the crowd left their chairs and went to see what was going on in the hallway. Dan Pab's eyes thinned. "Great." Some woman ran back into the room. "Eric, someone stop him. Will someone please tell me what happened to Eric? 1 second he's fine, taking notes about his favorite collection. Then the next thing I know, this is happening. There's the other guy," heard Dan from the security team coming to people's aid. 4 men had him pinned up the creature against the wall and it broke free, killing all of them. Dan was trying to keep his glasses on and the others were running away. Others were pushing aggressively on the fire escape doors which weren't opening. Dan removed his fork and slid along smooth carpeted floor to stab the vicious thing in the leg. But it did nothing. The creature's attack continued. It removed it, and threw it at him. While dodging a blow, he used his foot leveraging off the chair to jump in the air and stab it in the neck. Still no reaction. It shook him off its back, and he landed confused. The titanium did nothing, he thought. "Calm down, everyone," said Liz. They stopped trying to open the doors and some of them grouped around the scene of the man with glasses. One of Liz McClurthy's guards grabbed hold of him by his jacket. "We have to get out of here," Liz said. "Why did you crash this thing? I've witnessed something like that creature before. We have to get out of here," said Dan Pabs. "Can internet or cell phone connection?" said the man trying to free himself again as the crowd got to the fire escape stairs. "There's an internet service provider on this street. We needed the connection. No one's got one." Everyone's phones at once began to rumble. Some of them rang. Everyone removed them from their pockets and stared at the colors. The colors that were changing on their cell phone screens. The guard removed his phone and showed it to the man. Did you do this? Why? The guard asked Pabs. We're playing some games. Billions of us, but whatever that is, it spreads, there's going to be more of them, Dan Pabs said. The cameraman joins aiming his camera. What did you do? He asks Dan. It's right now, everything is happening, it's all gone, it's gone. He leaned into his side and folded his arms. Then he looked around, everyone was looking at him. Through his lenses his eyes glimmered. We crashed the system, a woman gasps. Every computer's gone, anything that was connected to the internet, won't work. Whatever this is, it might be an alien attack. Impossible, shouts a man. All the phones, his voice sounds afraid, all of the banks. They're not gone, he's insane. The fire escape doors open. People confused by what they heard start going down the stairs. Liz looks away from the man and at her phone. Get on the landline. Call the police. A guard takes the phone off the hook of the wall and dials. He looks at them. It's busy. The guard said, keep trying. The man shakes free and he makes it for the stairs. He pushes a woman out of the way, disregarding her for her pregnant belly. The security ran after him. Are you okay? John steps down and helps her up. I'm fine. Another man helps her up. Thank you. I don't think we should leave. I think they'll come back in and we can continue, said Howard. I don't want to continue. Be careful, said Liz. I don't know what this is, some sort of hoax. Jeff Doan, the man next to her, said. He had gray beard which he ran his hand through and arranged his hat. It was impossible to measure, he said. What they're talking about? No, this isn't a robbery. How does he know? I once sold a Warhol, someone said behind them, but later had to buy it back for $1,035. Nobody else wanted the work. He laughed again. John turned to the group. Doors are open. John and the crew hit the stairs and got back in the news van. There were people getting into their cars. The parking lot exit had a few cars lined up. When they made it to the front they signaled and pulled out. There were people everywhere. They were moving quickly in all directions. The recording engineer was looking ahead, packing his sound equipment. When sliding door opened and man holding a gun stood outside the van. Get out and give me the keys. He shoots twice, the cameraman falls, then the recording engineer. John swings at the man from his driver's seat. The man leans back dodging his punch and then pistol whips John. He falls from his driver's side door. He opens his eyes wide and falls to the ground. He sees the shooter's brand of shoes, Adidas, and John climbs back to his feet. He takes off from the van. Looking back he sees the man with the gun take the driver's seat and close his door. John runs up the road out of traffic, through two people onto the sidewalk. Someone throws a newspaper dispenser through a window and climbs into the building. John runs past him. Next to him is a girl with busy hair in a yellow sweater. Watch it, buddy, she says. He turns with a group of kids who were heading into the alley. That was sick, one of them said. He wore a Nike hat. His friend next to him was in a bomber jacket. The one leading the group wore a leather jacket and had long black hair. Where are you kids going? John, Dan and Liz caught up with them, asked him, catching up to the one up front. We're following the train tracks to the other side of town, he said back. Dan looked at Liz. I need to have a few words with you when we get there. Whatever you say, officer, said Liz. My friends were just shot. I need to contact the police. Someone walking by just said. Tracks go right by the station. You're welcome to come with us. Where are you guys coming from? John asked. A hockey game. The one with the Nike hat on. John looked at him. Any of your cell phones working? He asked. No, they're not working. I don't know, but it feels like that Y2K that was supposed to happen all those years ago. They crossed the parking lot before long. They arrived at the railroad tracks. John beside the girl shook her hand. I'm Tolson, she said. That's Josh, Bush, Emily and Owen. Are you hungry at all? Tolson opened her purse and removed a handful of chocolate bars. John took one and began eating it. They kept walking. Dan looked down into the sewer grate as he walked, his gaze snagging on something pale and unnatural. A creature, or what was left of one, lay coiled in the filth below. He shivered, a cold dread seeping into his bones that had nothing to do with the night air. Names are Emily and Owen, a woman's voice cut through his thoughts. He glanced over. Emily, a small woman, hugged herself, her eyes wide with fear. Owen, a lanky man, paced nervously beside her. Ahead of them, three other figures walked, their laughter echoing eerily in the growing twilight. Good, John said, his voice a surprising anchor of calm. People still have hope. He pointed to the third person walking ahead of Emily and Owen. Oh, and who's that? Emily shrugged, her shoulders hunched. That is, I don't know her. She got here just before you did. I know that voice, John. It's Maria, a woman's voice called out from the group ahead. Maria turned, her face lighting up despite the grim situation. John, Liz, good to see you both. Made it, too. Maria, thanks, Liz said, a hint of relief in her tone. Dan stepped forward, extending a hand to Maria. Hi, I'm Officer Pabs. He corrected himself, Officer Dan Pabs. We need to find your loved ones and get everyone out of the city. He looked around at the growing crowd, the nervous energy palpable. Do you think there's a new chemical in Chemical Valley? Someone asked, their voice laced with a desperate hope for a simple explanation. Dan shook his head, pushing past the question. I'm going to get my car. He wondered why everyone was still standing around, milling about. This was the part of the job he used to love, the high-octane equipment, the rush of action. He needed to get what he could from his police cruiser and stock up. The master clock was ticking down, and he was ready to go all night. Liz's eyes narrowed. I'll go too. I pay well for security, so you'll do. Her tone was sharp, a clear command. As long as you pay your taxes, Dan responded, a dry remark that felt out of place in the unfolding chaos. They reached the parking lot, a scene of utter pandemonium. Car alarms blared, people screamed, and figures moved like phantoms through the exhaust fumes. Dan, is your car close by? Liz yelled over the din. That's mine right there. Dan pointed to a patrol car, its lights flashing uselessly. He tried to assert some authority. This is me, everyone. I'm a police officer. But his words were swallowed by the noise. No one paid attention, everyone focused on their own desperate attempts to flee. Remain calm, he shouted, but it was futile. Then he saw it, a man was trying to break into his cruiser. Dan felt a surge of professional indignation, a familiar reflex in an unfamiliar world. He walked up behind the man, unbuttoned his holster, removed his pistol, and then, with practiced ease, cuffed him. The man, startled but compliant, seemed to be having a very bad night of joyriding. Look, my name is Jack. Will you just let me go? Jack pleaded as Dan threw him into the backseat. Yes, it's the end of the world, and everyone is trashing the city, Dan said, his voice surprisingly calm. But you're the only one getting arrested right now. Well, what do we do about it? Jack muttered from the backseat, clearly expecting to be released. You're the one who damaged a police vehicle, Dan retorted, shaking his head. Mind you, no one else was that stupid. He picked up his radio, flicking it on. Pabs here, can I get an update? A crackle of static, then a voice. Yes, Pabs, we've translated the Aztec. It translates back to English as, do not go. GPS coordinates indicate whoever wrote that was speaking about Cape Breton. Damaged. It was already trash, Jack grumbled from the backseat. Thanks, Dan said into the radio, ignoring Jack. Let me know if there's anything else. You got it, Dan. The radio voice confirmed before cutting out. Liz knocked on the dashboard, a faint smile touching her lips. Nice car, really nice car. It's so nice to have a car. It's got gas, Dan confirmed, glancing at the fuel gauge. He turned to Jack. You know what, Jack? Such stupidity can get people hurt. If you convince us that you're not as stupid as we think, we'll let you out of the cuffs. Jack, surprisingly, seemed to perk up. I wonder, I saw a Sasquatch of a dude earlier. He was wearing a lab coat. He worked for you, Liz McClurthy. So I guess anything can happen. Isn't that where you're going? I know everybody's going to the train station, and I know that train can't fit everybody. Dan exchanged a look with Liz. The man was a criminal, but he might have information. John and Maria, having made their way through the throng, finally reached the parking lot. They saw another police officer helping a man walk through the surging crowd. Up ahead, the crowd bottlenecked at the next turn, pushing and shoving. Oh no, stop moving back and forth. I see you, the other officer yelled, trying to control the frantic mass. He recognized Dan's cruiser. Hi, Dan Pav, here. He's a fellow officer, like you. You know what, Dan, he continued, waving them over. Forget the train station, I've got a helicopter. Take us to Chris Hadfield Airport. The suggestion hung in the air, a desperate, tantalizing possibility.